Listen, before we go, Crawford Spence.
Yes.
Have you been able to have that? Have you been able to have that boxing, that intellectual boxing conversation about this fight that, you know, really scratches that itch for you?
No. No, I haven't.
Well, then shoot, let's do it.
Okay, good. I mean, I actually, off the top, I think that, you know, people are talking about this fight happening too late. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that the timing of when this is happening actually makes it a more competitive fight.
It's perfect.
I think a couple years ago, I was really favoring Spence. I thought he was just too big for welterweight. Crawford was still growing into the weight class. He came in late. It's his third weight class. People need to remember that.
Yeah.
He was a 35-pound champion, 40-pound undisputed, and then he's now a 47.
Yeah.
So it was his third weight class. This is Spence's first weight class. He actually boxed higher as an amateur.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's gone his way up. He's the biggest welterweight I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he, I think, but now Crawford's a real welter, man. That guy, I've seen scales with he's 177, 180 pounds. Like, you know, like, I think the guy's real. He's also got a 100% KO percentage at welterweight. Not the same level of opposition that I think Spence has had in terms of the timing of when he fought everybody. But
sure.
This is a real fight, man. And also the fact that Spence is now on the tail end of 2 major car accidents.
Yeah.
And a torn retina. Torn retina 20 years ago was the end of your career.
Yeah.
You know, modern medicine has definitely helped things out, but that's still something to think about. So, yeah, I think this is about as even as a fight as you could get. You know, I flip flop on who I think's going to win every day.
How could you not flip flop on who's going to win every day? For me, I believe that the accident, the first accident that Spence was in, I'm glad that God saved him from that, and it made him better as a person. And you already know that who you are in the ring is who you are outside of the ring, and vice versa, which means he matured in the ring, which means he's better now in the ring. Of course, you have to take into consideration the physical, possible physical ailments such as the eye, but we see him now twice, and we have not seen him complain about the eye. We have not seen him go to the hospital about the eye. We have not seen him in between rounds blinking or anything like that, which would give us the assumption that that eye is healed and it is fine. The other side of that, you got Crawford, who, again, is coming up now 3 weight classes. How much more experience do you expect this young man to have? He's got every experience required, needed to be at this point in his career against the heaviest hitter at 147 pounds. And again, you can even argue that because now Crawford, we know what his statistic is at 147 now. So I think even from a standpoint, when you take a look at it's even from this standpoint too, you got one fighter coming down in weight from amateur to pro, fought amateur at 54, comes down to 47. He's holding 47. And that's something that a lot of people don't take into consideration. What does it take for you to hold your weight there? Eventually, you're going to start to cut into some things that you wouldn't want to cut into just to make that weight, just to keep that money at that specific level and to get the best fights possible. You know, so Spence has really held and stayed at that weight class as long as he can. I think that this is his last fight at 47. And then you got a fighter coming up to 47, but when he started at 135, we don't know how much weight he was losing to get to 35. When he was fighting at 40, we don't know how much weight he was losing to get to 40. And now he's at 47. We can only imagine he's probably the most healthy 147-pound fighter in the world. But again, we don't know how much weight he's losing and how big he gets in between fights at 47. So I just think that overall is really, people all the time say, well, who you got winning? I don't. I got us winning this one.
Yeah.
And for the first time, like, that's a legitimate answer that I think everyone can appreciate, where we win on this one, because whether it goes 1 round, which there's an extreme possibility that this fight could go 1 round, and the red corner wins or the blue corner wins, or this fight goes the distance. And it's a realistic possibility that this fight goes the distance and either the red corner or the blue corner wins. It's a 50-50 fight. This is the definition of 50-50.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think and the thing about it is both men do what they do so well. It's who does what they do that's gonna win the night. Because both of them have all the skills, they have all the talent, they have all the physical gifts, they have all the knowledge to beat the other man. But it's just who's going to be able to execute their game plan, who's going to make the fight lean towards their skill set. Well, listen, you fought both men, but Crawford, you're basically fighting two guys. He can switch sides so seamlessly, and he's got different abilities on either side. It's really something amazing to watch and study. And then Spence, a lot of people say that he's basic. Well, guess what? The fundamentals work from the beginning to the top. So people say that as if it's a negative. I don't see that as a negative at all. I think he does the fundamentals fantastically. And he's a much better boxer than people give him credit for. Yeah. So there's so many layers to this fight that I think people who really know the sport, a guy like you who's saying this is a 50-50 fight, because I think the people who are more casual will be like, I am team this guy no matter what. They're not really looking at it the way that is really there, because this is such a layered, nuanced fight. They're both so good. Yeah. And I think they're so equally matched. Do you think that this fight has any chance of not being exciting?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you know what it's like when you go to an arena, the anticipation of the fight is the energy is going to move around the room. And as people start to pull in right before the main event comes out and all that energy is just moving around the room. And then when both of these guys come out, their energy heightens, because now you see what you've been anticipating for so long. Now you see them both walk into the ring, whatever they walkouts look like. And then once they get in the ring, and the thing that I find very, very precious, I'm going to go with the word precious about this fight. You always question how much dog somebody's got or how tough somebody is. These are the two toughest boxers in the world. I'm talking tougher than Floyd. I said it. Tougher than Pacquiao. I said it. Should I go out there and say tougher than Tyson? I mean, that's the level that they're on, where they refuse to lose. They refuse to be out-talked. They refuse to they both are very control. They're both controllers in the ring. They both want to be in control.
Both want to dominate. Yep.
They both want to dominate. Perfect word. Perfect word. They both want to be the dominator in the ring. How is this fight not going to be great? I
agree. Like you said, I think their competitive natures guarantees it. Because neither one of them wants to give an inch. The
best part is you got a clear, clean boxer in Errol Spence. Yeah, he can dip in and go to the body and things like that, but he keeps his everything at home. And then you got a Crawford who will, he'll get a little jazzy with it, but he'll do whatever he needs to do to win the fight. But the thing that I'm pointing out is that you ain't gonna get no cut in the first 4 rounds, and this fight don't go to a decision, and we all left like, oh, what happened? You ain't gonna get no crazy low blows. You ain't gonna get no crazy shots behind the head or nothing like that. This fight goes, I don't know how long this fight goes, but it goes, and it's great until it ends.
And I can see any scenario. I can see Spence going out there and muscling him and beating him up. I can see Crawford knocking Spence out. It's that kind of fight. I can see a hard fought back and forth war, like the fight that you had with Spence, where it's back and forth, and then it comes down to one thing. Comes into anything. Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways this fight can go, but man, I'm here for it. And the closer we get to it, the more excited I get.
One more thing, and I'm gonna let you go. We'll get up out of here. We'll wrap it up. What do you think is Crawford's biggest strength, and what do you think is Spence's biggest strength?
Crawford has something intangible in him. He's got that thing, whatever that thing is, that X factor. He finds a way. He just there's no way to explain it. There's no way to say what it is. Listen, he's got power. He's got speed. He's got technique. He's got the two sides. He's got that dog. He's got the competitive, but he's just got that extra thing. He just finds that thing. Yes, sir.
He's got that silent killer.
Yeah. That's the name of this episode.
yeah. Rename the episode the silent killer. He has that thing that you just don't see, and in the moment, it happens.
Yeah, he's an assassin. And then you got Spence, man. I nicknamed him the Terminator, because I feel like that man has an exoskeleton on him.
Nice.
Because if you really look at him, like right away with everybody, he fights a certain way. He's very cautious. He boxes very smart at first.
Yeah.
Then when he realizes you can't hurt him, he's walking you down like the Terminator and walking through your biggest shot. Yo, Kell Brook can punch.
Yeah.
He was walking through Kell's fire like nothing.
Yeah.
It was. I remember watching that and being like, man. Also, his visage. He acts like he's a robot. He just goes out there and he handles it. He's a Terminator. So I've always said, I know his nickname is the Shark, but I've been calling him a Terminator forever because he's just the guy's got an exoskeleton. He's built out of steel, and he's just got a steel focus too. So, man, it's just such a compelling matchup.
Yeah,